Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. When we think about using yoga as a practice, the approach of Bhagavad Gita is don't do anything excess. Yuktahara viharasya, yukta cheshtasya karmasu, yukta swapnavabodhasya, yogo bhavati dukkhaha. Whatever you are doing, wonderful, but it must be done in proportion. Many times what happens when we listen to some talks, go to some satsanga, we get spiritual influenza. And then we start overdoing the things. And it lasts for 3 days attack. And after that we are back to square one. Therefore, the teacher tells, Yogo bhavati dukkha. Ha means destruction, hani. Whenever our life has these proportions. Yukta ahara vihara. About taking food. See, let us not get lost in too much about the food. Like whenever you go here also, first day when they wanted to give me tea, so they thought I am a Swami, therefore I am abnormal. And therefore they will not give me normal tea. So they say, Swamiji, will you take herbal tea? Only horrible people take herbal tea. Take tea for caffeine. See friends. But instead of that, we spend unnecessary only on those issues. So what is to be done according to the Yoga Shastra about food? Yukta ahara. Now, by ahara eating, we don't mean only food. We eat by the tongue the food, by the eyes we eat the colors and forms, by the ears we eat the sounds, and so on. See? Meaning, yukta ahara means what? One must have a proper balance when we interact with the world. Otherwise, our condition is, I take only the boiled vegetables, no salt, and little bit of sprouted things, and that's it. Why? No, because I am following dieting. Dieting means you should die eating, don't die dry. Daridri people die hungry. So, if we are practicing this ahara, is not only the food, but in every interaction with the world, we must have a perfect balance. So, listening to something, keep on listening beyond limit. Seeing something, keep on seeing the same useless TV or the movies and all that. And then we complain, I want to do so much, but there is no time. You know, in the modern day, the diseases are not the old diseases. The diseases are not addiction to drinks and drugs, addiction to WhatsApp, addiction to Facebook. Non-stop. Yukta ahara. Similarly, yukta vihara. taking exercise. Do it, no doubt, you must. But that is not everything in life. See, otherwise whole day goes only in the yoga, 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 yoga. Just keep your body fit, it's more than enough. Yuktahara viharasya, yukta cheshtasya karmasu. Similarly, get yourself involved in this world only to an extent that you are not destroyed. The first principle of spiritual life is, according to Bhagavad Gita, first protect yourself. Don't bother for the world. When Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi was approached by the people who were engaged in the Quit India movement, freedom fight, that time Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi used to be in Arunachal, in Tamil Nadu. And these people, they approached him. See, so many things are happening, Hitler's things are happening, Jallianwala Bagh, and so many people are killed, Britishers are so thing, we should do something. Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi said, have you created this world? No. Relax. Remember this principle of Bhagavad Gita's yoga. Uddhared atmanatmanam natmanam avasadayet. Atmaiva atmano bandhu atmaiva rikuratmana. We are here only for our evolution. Don't get carried away by the so-called politics, the so-called people, the so-called institutions. No. Wherever you are, first principle, protect yourself. And then only we can grow spiritually. Otherwise, small little things will be happening in the life, in the world, about the people, and we get disturbed. No. Keep yourself cool. There is one very simple rule. Those who get disturbed and miserable because of others, they are the fools of the highest order. Why should I become miserable because of you? No, I am giving so many talks, but nobody improves. You know, they are same wretched people. Then don't give. See, my friends, Yukta Ahara Viharasya, Yukta Cheshtasya Karmasu, Yukta Swapna Avabodhasya, third principle of yoga according to Gita. Swapna Avabodha. This principle all children learn in our KG1, KG2. Early to bed and early to rise is the way to be healthy, wealthy and wise. And what is our life? Late to bed and late to rise is the perfect way to be unhealthy and otherwise. And what practice we are doing of yoga? No self-control. See, my friends, if you just try this one simple principle, begin your day early morning, maybe at about 4:30, 5 o'clock, and see the difference. There is one girl, when I go and stay with them, I stay there only for one night. And as usual, I am out of my bed by 3 o'clock, and she knows. So I finish morning ABCD and then I get a cup of tea at 3:30 or 4 o'clock. I said, hey, how come you are awake? I would have prepared my own tea. No, Swamiji, I have started also waking up early morning and I begin my day at 4 o'clock. Then what do you do? He said, I finish the earlier morning ABCD and then I do little bit of yoga exercise for about 15-20 minutes and then your message comes and then I see the YouTube talk and that is going every day and my whole day goes so wonderful. Earlier I used to be a problem to myself and to others. We always used to fight, me and my husband. But now everything disappeared. The secret is, you begin your day in an inspired mode everything is beautiful. Yukta avabodhasya. Don't keep on lingering on the bed too long. Then yogo bhavati dukkhaha. So if we are practicing yoga, what are the symptoms of a yogi? Symptoms of a yogi, he is always happy and cheerful. Be very attentive, it's a very dangerous statement. I'll tell you an example. This happened once I was in Prayagraj and finished my bath in the Triveni Sangam, and we were out on our way to Varanasi, and it started raining in cats and dogs. And earlier it was a Shivaratri, so whole night, day, no food. So I was very hungry. I said, hey, come on, go to some hotel and we have to eat. I can't stand anymore now. So there was one hotel, I still remember the name of the hotel, Imli. Name of the hotel was Imli. Very nicely built, big hotel. So when I was going, I took out my khada in my hand and walking the steps because it was raining and slippery. So one man came and he took the khada in his hand with the umbrella and held me slowly, took me inside, gave me a towel and all. I said, hey man, thank you so much. Today you will be my guest for the lunch. He said, Swamiji, this is my hotel. I thought I am going to give him lunch. Then he said, I am following you for last so many years. And today I was so happy to see you coming in my hotel. And he said, I follow your instructions, I am happy. Mauj mera ho. Then he said like that. I said, hey, you are happy. But the people around you at home, your wife, your children, your subordinates, your cooks, your servants, are they happy? Swamiji, why did you ask this question? I said, because your understanding of happiness is wrong. Friends, if you are happy, people around you will never be miserable. One of my observations is this. Those who are extremely submissive to their boss. Sir? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, sir. Yes, sir. They are dangerous bosses. They treat their subordinates like filth because they expect that as I am licking the shoes, others should do to me. See, my friends, therefore, if we are practicing yoga, yogo bhavati dukkhaha, nothing in this world will disturb us, and because we are at peace, everybody around us will be at peace. That is the yoga according to Bhagavad Gita. Now, after having said this, then the teacher gives the definition of yoga, which I told you yesterday. Yada vinitam chittam atmani eva avachishtate nispruhaha sarva kamebhyaha yukta ityuchyate tada. Yada viniyatam chittam, when the controlled mind. Now see, when we say controlling the mind or controlled mind, before that we must know what is uncontrolled mind. We simply say, my mind is very disturbed. What do you mean by disturbed? Think. Uncontrolled mind is that mind which runs in three parameters. One, it runs in time, it runs in places, and it runs in objects. Viniyatam chittam, that mind which is perfectly under control with reference to time, space and object. Patanjali says, the Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi. Dharana is control of the mind with reference to a place. Fix the mind in one place. Dhyana, in that one place only one object. And in one place one object for a long period of time, Samadhi. Three of them. If these three things are perfected, then what Bhagavan says here, Viniyatam Chittam. Such a mind is a controlled mind. Patanjali's word, Trayam Ekatra Sayyama. So, what is real yoga according to Patanjali? We start from the Yama, go through Niyama, Asana, Pranayam, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi, and it must culminate in Sayyama. See? Sayyama means now the mind has stopped reacting in life. See, friends, our mind is constantly reacting because it is frustrated inside. And what is the reason of frustration? We are leading a totally different, disgusting life. One example I will tell you. One of my friend in UK, she came to receive me on the airport, and then I had to go to some place about 3 hours drive to a church to deliver a lecture on Gita. So from Heathrow, I had to go all the way to Wales, about 3.5 hours drive. When she was driving, after some time I said, Mama, you are going the wrong way. Swamiji, I am here for last 40 years. I know. I said, that doesn't stop you from making mistakes. No, I said, okay. All right, very good, continue. After another 15 minutes, Swamiji, what you said is right. I have taken a wrong action. I said, then follow Indian technique. Go the wrong way. 2 wrongs make 1 right. No, we can't. I said, then suffer silence. So we have to go another 40 miles, take a U-turn and come, and by the time we reached that church, it was 1 hour late. And I was expecting, Britishers are very time punctuals, they must have left. But all were waiting. I had no choice. Straight away out of the car, started the talk for 1.5 hours. Message of Gita was the topic. And after that was over, little bit of tea, coffee, talking to people, hi. And thereafter I went to my hostess place, had dinner, and then they knew I like BBC documentaries. So they had kept one documentary on Tibet. And I was watching that. Now this lady who was driving me, she said, Swamiji, go and sleep now. I said, Mama, I call you Mama, but I am not your baby, okay? Don't dictate me. I'll do whatever I want. No. Actually, you must be tired. You came all the way from India, then we drove, then you finish your talk, now dinner. Are you not tired? I said, it is not your business. No, I want to be like you. I get tired very easily. I want to be like you. I should not get tired. I said, you cannot. Why? No beard. Longer the beard, confirm is the wisdom. Shorter beard, doubtful is the wisdom. No beard. Swamiji, don't make jokes, please tell me something. I said, okay, listen. Your whole life is a struggle. You are trying to prove something to somebody. Don't do that. Be yourself. Our whole life is a hypocrisy. What we are not, that we try to pretend. And therefore, we have got a double personality. Inside something else, outside something else, and there is a tug of war constantly going on. And such people are miserable, and because they are miserable, if they come across any happy person, they become more miserable. See, friends. Therefore, yogo bhavati dukkhaha. If we are really practicing yoga in our life, we will never be miserable under any condition. Our state is like what? That I am a restaurant owner, but I am always hungry because I don't have anything to eat. If you are in a yoga institution, if you are practicing yoga, you are teaching yoga, you have lost your right to be miserable. And if you are not miserable, you will never make anybody miserable around you. See, my friends. Therefore, after having said this thing, then yada vinitam chittam, the mind is now fully controlled, then atmani eva avatishthate, tada drashtuhu sarupe avasthanam. See the same words. Our mind is quiet under three conditions. First, under ignorance. In deep sleep, mind is quiet. Our mind is superficially quiet because we have no courage to react. So, surface wise, goody, but inside there are volcanoes. See, and the third one is, be attentive. The real mind of a real yogi does not have to struggle to solve the problems. All the problems stand dissolved. Only by wisdom. What is the wisdom? Whenever you are disturbed, only one question you ask to yourself: who is disturbed? You will come to discover that at the root of a thought, at the root of a disturbance, at the root of a misery, there is a seed of somebody. Don't water it, don't nurture it, throw it away. And then we will come to know that there is always somebody. So that somebody is mother, father, brother, sister, husband, wife, boss, subordinate. Somebody is there, he is miserable. Now go further. Are you 24/7 the same personality? No. We all have to play different roles. See? So play your role perfectly well. If you are in front of your elders, parents, then talk with reverence, quiet. Don't teach them. Don't argue with them. Don't disagree with them. Whatever they say, even without listening, you say yes. Anyway, after 2 minutes, they will forget. Don't worry about it. Simple life. If you are with your subordinates, forgive them. Those who cannot forgive, they cannot forget. To forget, the only technique is to forgive. With the subordinates or younger than us. This is the technique. But Swamiji, the main thing you are not telling. What is the main thing? How to deal with the wife. That is the simplest thing. When she is talking, you should keep quiet. When she is quiet, you should not talk. There will be peace prevailed everywhere. Friends, don't take life too seriously. Then only that mind is slowly dissolving in the consciousness. Now be attentive. mind or consciousness, both of them are nothing but knowledge. Like the sunlight and the reflected light from the bucket where the sunbeam has fallen, both are lights. But one is the original light and second is the reflected light. Exactly the same way. Pure consciousness, the original light, tasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati, and the mind is a reflected light. Now what is the difference between the two? Be very attentive. That knowledge where objectivity is predominant, that knowledge is called as mind. And that knowledge where objectivity is absent, objectless awareness, is our essential nature. See, my friends, the more you start working on this functioning of the mind, then we will come to know the thoughts, the disturbances, the desires, the anger, the greed, any kind of thought in the mind is inflammation of the mind. How an inflammation happens? Suppose we are walking somewhere, a thorn goes in our foot and we don't realize it. And after a day or two, then that thorn, being a foreign body, starts hurting the tissue and the tissue starts reacting and there is inflammation, there is pain, it's very tender and it is little hot. Now what can be done? You have to remove that foreign body. Now apply the same technique. Mind is pure knowledge. In that pure knowledge, the foreign body in the form of any object enters. So knowledge plus object is equal to inflammation of the mind, and that inflamed mind is called as a thought. Like, yesterday I gave you example, I want a cup of tea. So the cup of tea has entered the mind. So mind has inflamed. That inflamed mind is called desire for tea. It's painful. Why they don't give me tea? What is the reason? I am disturbed. And then I get a cup of tea. Foreign body is removed. I am happy. Aha, maja aa gaya. Observe this. See, friends, this is real yoga. All others what you are doing, if it is not leading to this discovery, simply struggling, chitta vritti nirodha, biting your teeth, nothing will happen. You must know what is exactly happening in the mind, how it happens. See? Similarly, the second part, chitta vritti nirodha, according to Bhagavad Gita, is simple thing. Yukta hara viharasya, yukta cheshtasya karmasu, yukta swapna babodhasya, yogo hoti dukkha. Now you want to struggle and control the mind, no thoughts, chitta, it will never happen. If you are sincere to yourself, put your hand on your heart, not mine, and tell me, has your chitta vritti nirodha ever happened? To whom are we cheating? We are cheating ourselves. And we all cheat ourselves the most, not to others. Instead of struggling, discover. The discovery is, no thought can erupt without the clothing of words. Like when we go out of the house, we put on clothes. We don't go without clothes. Exactly the same way. No thought comes out of the mind without the clothing of words. Now do this experiment right now. Try to think on any topic without using any word. You cannot. So if you really want to practice Chitta Vritti Nirodha, how can you practice? Only half an hour struggling and putting the board, don't disturb, meditation in progress. We are already disturbed. We don't want external disturbance, sufficient internally. See friends, therefore, if you really want to practice yoga according to Bhagavad Gita, give it a try. Whenever you are free, sitting quiet, just do this. Don't talk to yourself. And this can be practiced anytime, anywhere, in any asana. This yoga I have named. There are so many yogas, isn't it? Like Bhujangasana, Ushtrasana, Gardhavasana. This yoga I have named. I call it as a commode yoga. In the morning when you land on the commode, till the job is over, you are not going to talk to yourself. You can't say, somebody was disturbing me. Nobody is there other than you. Ekameva dvitiya neha nanasti kinchana neha mamasti kinchana. And if there also you get disturbed, who can help you? Begin your commode yoga in the morning. Before the Surya Namaskar. See my friends, just give it a try. In due time, you will discover we talk maximum to ourselves. And what is that talking? Be attentive. That talking is, we create the problems which are not there, and then we solve the problems which are not required to be solved. If I go there, if he say like that, I will tell him like that. But if he says that, then I tell him. And ultimately, that problem never comes. Hey, just give it a try, my friends. I am not telling you anything difficult, most practical. But at the same time, I guarantee you will never do it. Because we want complicated things. Don't like simple things. See? In this manner, when you start, your mind is abiding in the self. So, yada viriyatam chittam atmani eva tishtate. Now, if the mind has dissolved in the pure consciousness, then what are the symptoms? Nispruhaha sarvakamebhyaha. What are the real symptoms of abidance in the truth? Tada drashtu swarupya avasthanam. Freedom from all desires. No desires. Chitta vritti means nothing but the impact of desires. And desires happen under three conditions. Yesterday I told you. A sense of incompleteness, a sense of otherness. If we stop here, desire is not born. Like, I don't have any spray fragrance on my body. Incomplete. Then I see, oh, those flowers are very nice. I think I should have them. 2. The third thing, if I stop here, no problem. But then what happens? Our mind starts a series of projection. Now be attentive. Here is the secret of the mind. Mind has got 2 aspects. One is the perception. This is a nice flower, perception. Desire is not born. But after that, the mind starts projection. This object is good. This object is necessary. This object is the source of happiness. I am incomplete because I don't have that object. Therefore, yena kena prakarena, I must possess that object. This is the second aspect of the mind. Just see. Technically speaking, first janati, knows, then ichchati, desires, then karoti, acts. The other day I went to somebody's place in Pune and I entered their kitchen and some particular thing was there and it was so convenient to work because I had to work in my kitchen. So there was one thing which was very convenient to work. I said, hey, it's very good. So easy to clean and all that. Now janati. Till then I didn't know, no desire. When I knew then I must have it. Second thing. And third, I will justify. This is how the desires are born. Therefore, if our mind is stopped from projections, we being Indians, we are expert in projections. Projections are evaluation, suggestions, complaints, demands, improvement, comparisons. These are the reactions of the mind. See? Therefore, yada panchavatishthante jnanani manasa saha buddhisthana vicheshtate. Meaning what? The objective perception does not create disturbance in the buddhi, in the mind, and therefore there are no desires. Then our mind is like a mirror. A mirror reflects everything, rejects nothing, but at the same time retains nothing. That should be our approach. Then we are practicing yoga according to Bhagavad Gita. So, Nispruhaha sarvakamebhyo yukta ityuchyate tada. Then he is called as a yogi. See friends. Then the condition of such a yogi, this is the most famous popular verse. Yatha dipo rivadasto nengate sopama smrta yoginaha yata chittasya yujjato yogamatmanaha. Like if you keep a flame, now the flame is there before Swamiji, because there is the open place, so the flame is flickering. Tube light is not flickering because it is dead. But the flame is flickering. If this flame is kept in a protected area where no winds are disturbing, it will be steady. Meaning what? It has a potentiality to move, but it is not moving. It is not like a tube light. The real yogi is not the one whose mind has become like the people who are drug addicts. They are all the time in a Shambhavi Mudra. No. They are relaxed, light, moving in this world dynamically, and yet their mind is like a flame kept protected from the disturbance of winds. So it has all the potentiality to move, but it is not moving because the winds of desire are not disturbing it. Yada viniyatam chittam atmannevanudishtate. So, yogino yata chittasya yunjato yogamatmanaha. Therefore, a real yogi is the one whose mind has come back to himself. So, yatro paramate chittam niruddham yoga sevayam yatraiva chatmana chatman pashyannatmani tushyati. And in this manner, niruddham chittam yoga sevaya, by the practice of yoga. So, therefore, what is the real practice of yoga according to Bhagavad Gita? Keep your life balanced, don't take life seriously, and refuse to be miserable. This whole theme is developed by Bhagavan Krishna on the foundation of the definition of yoga. Patanjali's definition is Chitta Vritti Nirodha Yoga. Bhagavan Krishna's definition is different. He is practical and he says, when the miseries come in your life, you experience the miseries, but you refuse to be miserable. That is the yoga according to Bhagavad Gita. And my friends, the choice is given to us. We are all miserable by our choice. See? How we are miserable by choice? Now those of you who have come after your own are enjoying. Those of you who are tied down with a lead and come, and you come and sit here and you are miserable. See? This is a very simple thing. And this happens only because of practice. Don't get yourself in that mode of seeking attention. Those who are miserable, they are seeking attentions. Suppose I straight away walk away from here, nobody will bother about me. But while walking, suddenly I do some drama. Oh God, oh, what happened, what happened? If you can put your attention, I will never do that drama. See my friends, therefore, when we are thus practicing yoga according to Bhagavad Gita, then the teacher says, Yatro Brahmate Chittam Niruddham Yoga Sevayam Yatra Chaivatmana Chatman Pashyanatmani Tushyati. Tushyati means now he is at peace with himself. A yogi is not an excited personality. He is a composed one. To understand this condition, take an example. If we are on the surface of the sea, we will be buffeted by the waves. But if you go in the same place, little deeper, maybe 5, 10, 15 feet, then there will be no waves. Exactly the same way. We are all living at the periphery of our personalities. Come back. Go within. Be attentive. When you go within, you come to know there is nothing like in and out. In the deep sleep, we are inside the body or outside the body. We are inside the room or outside the room. We are in Mumbai or we are in Calcutta. We are in 2019 or we are in 2018. We are a man or woman. We are a yogi or a rogi. Everything disappears. The samsara begins with the concept of in and out taken as real. And this in and out is only relative. For example, this rosary is in my pocket. The book is outside the pocket. Then the book is inside this hall. Car is outside the hall. Car is inside the Kaivalyadham premises. The road is outside. Road is inside Sobo. You know Sobo? Everybody knows here. All those who are not sober, they are called as Sobovasi. So in and out always have a reference. And when you drop this reference, how do we drop? We drop the reference, drop the object, come to the sense organs. Drop the sense organs, come to the mind. Dissolve the mind, everything is over. You are not inside or outside. Technically, this is called a viparya. We have this wrong notion. We are inside the body. No, the body is in me. The day this will click, understand, God's grace is showering on us. Then we will get out of this body all the time. So, Pashyan Atmane tu, he is at peace with himself. Then, Sukham Atyantikam Yattat Buddhi Grayam Atindriyam. Then what is that experience? According to Gita, it is Sukham Atyantikam. It is the ultimate bliss. See, be attentive. What is ultimate bliss? Sthira Sukham. Ultimate bliss is, your bliss, happiness is steady. All other happinesses, they are unsteady. Because we know only one kind of happiness. It is gained through interaction with the worldly objects. So if I like Rasgulla, if I get it, oh, I am very happy. See friend, if I don't get it, I am very miserable. But this is Atindriyam. Be attentive. This Atindriyam, beyond the use of sense organs and mind and intellect, what is the happiness? I just give you one example. Catch it and then you will see what happens. One of my friend, elderly person, a retired brigadier, he met me and he said, Swamiji, a good news. I said, don't tell me you are getting again married. He said, no. Then I have given up smoking. He was smoking for 60 years. Now it was a joy of freedom. Where from that happiness has come? Earlier, it is the same cigarette which was giving him happiness. He has given up and yet he is happy. Because that is our essential nature. See my friends, this is called as Atindriyam. This happiness is beyond the faculties of perception, Buddhi Grayam. And it is not the happiness of dullness or the drugs or the drinks, but you are aware of this happiness, Buddhi Grayam. It is through wisdom. And therefore, the happiness of the wise people is different and happiness of the otherwise people is different. See friends, therefore, Sukham Atyantikam Yattat, it is Atyantikam, ultimate happiness. This ultimate happiness is told by Patanjali when he says, Prayatna Shaithilya Ananta Samapattibhyam. Sthira Sukham, steady bliss, is possible only under these two conditions. When you are effortless. Wherever there are efforts, you are struggling. Whenever you struggle, you get tired. When you get tired, you become angry. When you become angry, people enjoy free cartoon show. It's so important. And you will see, when a person becomes angry, he wants other people to know that he is angry. If a person from Pune becomes angry, he will never become angry in Marathi. He will become angry in Hindi, Rashtra Bhasha. And he will look at others and talk, shout, anger. Therefore, Prayatna Shaitilya, meaning you don't have to prove anything to anybody. And you don't have to justify anything to anybody. Be answerable to your own conscience, not to the world. कुछ तो लोग कहेंगे, लोगों का काम है कहना. See my friends, buddhi grahayam atindriyam. So, then when the prayatna shaitilya means what? When the doership disappears, when the yogi has disappeared, then yoga remains. See, in other words, the joy without an enjoyer is the divine experience. The yoga without a yogi is the divine experience. The karma without a doer is the divine experience. The knowledge without a knower is the divine experience. Therefore, sukham atyantikam yattat buddhi grahyam atindriyam veti yatra na chaivayam stitascharati tattvataha. So he who is thus abiding in this tattvataha, essentially, then na cha echalati, he is now steady. This is what Patanjali's words, tada drashtuhu sarupe avastha. And having reached one's essential nature, that doesn't mean he becomes dull-witted now. What happened to you? यार जब से realize हो गया ऐसे ही हो गए. No. It's not that. Now see the difference. The waters in the ocean are also moving, and the waters in the river are also moving. What is the difference? For the river, it is a need to reach the destination. For the ocean, it is a freedom. Ananda che dohi ananda taram. Expression of the movement of the waters in the ocean is the expression of fulfillment. And movement of the waters in the river is a necessity. See the difference? In the same manner, we are struggling because it is our necessity. Great masters have discovered fulfillment. Therefore, they move in this world with the fulfillment and not to achieve anything. Therefore, Veti yatra na chaivayam siddhascharati tattvataha yam labdva cha param labham manyate nadhikam tataha. Having attained which, now there is nothing more to be attained. It is something like, before we go to sleep, how many nakhre? And once you enter the sleep, then there Saptaswara Sangeet begins. That time we are not feeling what people will think, if you snore loudly. Never mind. It is their problem. See? Therefore, Yasmin Sthito na Dukkhena Guruna api vichalyate. Now this is again Bhagavan is bringing yoga. Yasmin Sthitaha, having come back to your essential self. Guruna dukkhena api. Guru means heavy. The most miserable condition will not make you miserable person. That doesn't mean miseries will not come to you. Miseries will come. But now you refuse to be miserable. This is such a simplest thing in our spiritual life. Practice disidentification. And disidentification is practiced only through wisdom and inquiry and contemplative thinking. For example, this example I am repeating again. Eyes are seeing different colors and forms. Eyes are not attached to any color and form. So, identification is not natural. It is only imaginary. Like those who are eating a lot of sugar, and when the doctor tells you take one more teaspoon and then go to hell. Okay, I'll stop it now. See? Therefore, yasmin sithona dukkhena guruna api vichalyate. He will never thereafter become disturbed, never become miserable. Therefore, he now gives the real definition of yoga. Tam vidya dukkha sanyoga viyogam yoga sanditam. Yoga sanditam, this is called as yoga. What is that? Tam vidya dukkha sanyoga viyogam. When the miseries come in your life, you refuse to be miserable. That is the real meaning of yoga. Now to practice this yoga, you don't require anything in this world. Take a vow in your life that refuse to be miserable. But then what will happen to the misery? Make others miserable. You should not become miserable. See? But this is wrong. No, we should not make others miserable. My dear friend, if you are happy, you will never make others miserable. But if you are miserable, you will never like a happy person. And Bhagavan has created this world for a time pass, for fun. He has not created this world out of seriousness. We khali pili serious. Why you become serious? Don't become serious about anything in life. Be sincere, not serious. See? So how Bhagavan has created this world for fun? He brings opposite poles together, cathode and anode. Then only the spark can come. So he brings the husband and wife together. That is what they say. Marriages are fixed in the heaven, but it is incomplete. So also the lightning and thunder. One man from Bombay, he died and went up there in the heavens. Bhagavan said, "Hey Mumbaikar, how do you like heavens?" He said, "That we'll see later. Tell me, who is that guy who fixes the marriages?" I want to take him to fire. So what he does, he brings opposite people together. If the husband is a perfectionist, wife will be exactly opposite. If the wife is perfectionist, husband will be exactly opposite. And those who are perfectionists, they are miserable, but not ordinary, perfectly miserable. Because they are perfectionists. On the contrary, if you take this simple principle, real yoga means only be happy. Real yoga means refuse to be miserable. One day, one elderly person told me, Swamiji, I am not able to do the Padmasana, what should I do? I said, you keep your, that one girl with the name Padma and look at her, Padmasana. No, but we should not do it. I said, look your age. You are now 78, not out. If you forcibly do it, your legs will get mixed up. Kaun sa kahan hai? Don't do all that rubbish. See? We see the pictures of the people, Mahatmas, the yogis, their whole life they have done nothing except twisting the body. And when you look at it, okay, I also want to sit like this. Which leg where? And with great difficulty you pull it here and there and it gets locked. Oh God, khulta hi nahi. That is not yoga. See friends, you are talking yoga Bhagavad Gita. What normally people all over the world, for them yoga means only Hatha yoga. And if you are a Bengali, hot yoga. See, that is not. Yoga is tam vidya dukkha sanyoga vyogam yoga sannidham. If the miseries come, refuse to be miserable. Friends, when we entered this world, we were given an immigration form by the Lord. And He said, welcome to this world, which is full of miseries and problems. See? Now a question is asked, do you want to be miserable? Options are given, yes and no. You tick correctly. Those who have tick mark, yes, tathastu. Then all the miseries of the world will directly be directed to you. See, like we transfer our phone call from one phone to another, so all the miseries will be directed to you. Therefore, the real spiritual practice, the real yoga according to Bhagavad Gita is only this much. Refuse to be miserable. That's it. And see, for this, you don't have to do anything. To become happy, you have to do something. To refuse to be miserable, you don't have to do anything. Then one day we will come to discover real yoga is not doing anything but undoing all what we have been doing. The real yoga is not becoming someone extraordinary but unbecoming of all what we have become. See, my friends, the real spiritual practice is that we don't have to be extraordinary. Drop extra. Fat we understand, but more than fat, you got too many extras in us. I am man, I am woman, I am young, I am old, I am Gujarati, I am Marathi, I am rich, I am poor, I am educated, I am uneducated, I am beautiful, I am awful. So many specialities. As if this burden is less. I am spiritual. Hare Dambo, real spirituality means you drop everything. Be attentive. What is the sleep? In sleep, you are nobody. Exactly. A real yogi is the one who is nobody. This is the yoga according to Bhagavad Gita. See? But unfortunately, throughout the world you go, only this one aspect, that is the asana, pranayama and health. That is not the ultimate. On the first day I told you, having born as a human being, the only evolution that is pending is spiritual evolution. If that is not attempted, Then punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jatare shayanam. Continue the same thing again and again. Therefore, sa nishchena yoktavyaha yogaha anirvinna chetasa. One has to be very firmly resolved, no more becoming miserable. Therefore, if somebody does a mistake, don't take a revenge. What is the mistake? I did this, from that I learned. I told you, my whole understanding is only through learning. Once I went to some house, Punjabi house, and I did a mistake. The old lady, I asked a question. Mama, how are you? It was my mistake. She said, Swamiji, hun tusi aaya baitho ette. And she started. This morning when I got up, and my ankle got twisted, and it is so much paining. It was already paining, it has become more. And then it started migrating to the calf muscles, and her description was so live, I started getting pain everywhere. Tadatmya. And thereafter, her grandson called. Swamiji, 1 minute. I said, Mama, wait, your grandson is calling me. He said, Swamiji, how can you listen to Dadima? I said, what can I do? Do our technique. I said, what is your technique? When she starts telling us anything, we show her fingers. Meaning, Dadima, you told 3 times. So she keeps quiet. Because old people forget what they are told to whom. And they are, acha, never mind, I'll start again. Or is it a Ramayana or what? Start again. So I went back. Then she said, Swamiji, what I was telling you, never mind, I'll tell you again. When I got up this morning, again, Purnavadap started. Then I used her grandson's technique. I said, Mama, you told 25 times. Enough. Don't ask anybody this question, how are you? You will suffer. But somebody asks you this question, then only one reply. Say, I am on the top of the world, but the word should carry the meaning. How are you? On the top of the world. Correct? Her words must carry the meaning. If that is not done, nobody can help us. Again and again, remind yourself, you are happy, everything is fine, everything is wonderful. Our condition is like a child who has lost for the first time his one tooth. The tongue goes where the tooth is not where the teeth are. Exactly the same way, what the Lord has given us, that we don't talk about. What He has not given us, that we talk about. Control your tongue and engage it in chanting Lord's name. Your mind will never be a problem for you. See? And when you start chanting Lord's name, your mind's thought process will be arrested. See? This is another most important aspect to know. Thoughts are not a problem. Be very attentive. Thoughts are not a problem. Then the momentum gathered by the thoughts creates a force, and that carries us away. Like the waters in the river is not a problem. But when the rivers are flooded and going with a great speed, then that speed is carrying you away. So what is to be done? We have a dam so that the flow of the water is arrested. Exactly the same way, to arrest these momentum gathered by the mind because of the thoughts, to arrest that, have a speed breaker. And that speed breaker is your Lord's name. Om Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Speed breaker. Om Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. This momentum of thought flow has to be arrested properly. Then we start working on the mind straight away. And then we come to discover many secrets about the mind. And after having discovered the secrets of the mind, then only you can transcend the mind. Then the mind is no more an issue, is no more a problem. Then it is our servant. This is what Bhagavan says, Atmaiva Atmano Bandhu Atmaiva Ripuratmana. When the mind is under our control, it is a great asset. But when the same mind is ruling us, it becomes our enemy. See, in this manner, when you slowly start working on your mind, you will come to discover thoughts are not the problem. Chitta vrittis are not the problem. When the flow happens, then we get carried by the flow of thoughts. And the thoughts become a flow if the thought is about something finite. If the thought is something about infinite, the thought stops. See? Finite is what? For example, I want a cup of tea. Finite. Then next thought will come. Where do I get it? When do I get it? Why don't they provide it here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 thoughts. On the contrary, if the thought is Om Namah Shivaya, complete, it will not breed the next thought. So, thoughts will be there, but there won't be a flow of thoughts. We get carried away by the flow of thoughts. See, friends, in this manner, yoga is working on the mind with proper understanding, and we should never have hurry on the spiritual path. Shanai Shanai Uparamen Buddhya Dhriti Gruhitaya Atma Samstam Manakrutva Na Kinchid Avichintaya. Go steadily, slowly. There is no hurry, because we don't have to reach anywhere. You are that. This experience of yours is your own being. You have not done anything. You have not achieved anything. Nor you have lost anything. Sthitva syam antakalepi brahma nirvanam ruchati. This experience has to be stabilized only once in the lifetime, not twice. You will never forget it, because this experience is trans-mind. If it is within the mind, then remembering, forgetting is possible. This experience is not limited by time, or by a mind, or by efforts, or by anybody. It is an experience without an experiencer. Therefore, like Tulsidas ji says, Jnana man jahu ek ho nahi. The divine experience is the one where there is nobody. It is an experience without an experiencer. This is the yoga according to Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम।